Welcome everyone. Today I want to discuss a certain topic. It's not about the Dragon Ball fandom. Don't worry. There's recently a weird thing going on where people post Kaba versus Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta videos and such. I'm not gonna discuss it. It's just insane. Then Dragon Ball Super is apparently coming back. I'm not gonna discuss this. There's nothing interesting even worth discussing. I don't know anything about the Granola arc. How I know how it ended, but it's like, how many times do we have to discuss the same topic over and over again? It's the same thing. Anticlimactic ending. Either it's too predictable or it's a cop-out with a plot device. In this case it was Frieza. Daima, I have no interest in Daima. I might watch it, but what's the point? I'm also not gonna discuss Super Dragon Ball Heroes because it's pretty much over. But Sparking Zero kinda caught my interest. And by interest I mean I just gonna look at some movesets and such, but it still doesn't have anything that says, wow, it's a must buy. I mean it looks fantastic by modern gaming standards. It has a lot of content. I'm not gonna deny this, but it still is not enough to make me feel this is a good successor to Tenkaichi 3. 182 characters, that's a lot. Maybe too much for some people, but this is a Dragon Ball game. It's a Tenkaichi game. Where's Super 17? Where's King Piccolo? Where's Arshango? Where's Nova Shenron? I mean, I can kinda tolerate Rildo not being in the game, but you gotta add Rildo, come on. But this is also not the topic of the video. I'm not gonna play it because I'm not boycotting the game. It's not because I want to boycott it. It just doesn't have what I want, and by that I mean it doesn't meet my standards to actually own the game. It doesn't even make me, oh, I would like to play it, but if this character is not in the game I can't. It's not even that. If the opportunity arises, I play it, but I'm not gonna buy. I have no desire to buy a new console and this game. Not even Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was enough to make me buy Fighter, so there's that. I want to have the purchase for a new game by today's standards for me is it has to have things I desire to the point that I can repeatedly play it, because in the past few years during my college I realized every time I bought a game I was really hyped, I ended up playing it just for a few minutes or for a few days, or I played for completion but I felt nothing completing them, even if it was a good game. I'm not denying it, but I really don't have the same memories with games I used to have back in the day. Like Tenkaichi 3 memories are still staying with me. It was fantastic. I still can remember how I first beat Super Mario Bros. 3. I still remember how much I enjoyed Super Mario. Well, it's generic. I played a lot of generic games, but I also played some other games, but yeah, it's not really worth it. I remember a few years ago I bought myself Budokai 1 because I was really intrigued by the how big of a jump it was compared to Final Bout, and I played it to conclusion, but I didn't 100% it, and I don't even have the desire to do so, which is the point I'm making. The games my desire to play games is not here anymore. I complete Pokemon games. I enjoy playing Pokemon games, despite being really bland and kinda underwhelming. You do pretty much the same thing over and over again. But the competitive aspect for me is having a competitive completed national decks is somehow something I desire. I need some kind of completion thing I can fill. Because if I buy a big game of a franchise I like, with a lot of characters, I want them to each to be at their peak. I want to either master them or have the ideal moveset, and maybe that's why I don't really buy modern Pokemon games, nor do I have interest in buying modern Dragon Ball games, because they have still stuff, but they take out a lot of stuff I like. And for example, Gen 8 Dexit pretty much says it all. And after seeing Ultimate Smash Ultimate, I feel like Tenkaichi 4 should be similar. Have all of Tenkaichi 3 plus additional characters from Super and whatnot. And because it doesn't have that, I feel kinda betrayed, if you know what I mean. This wasn't even the topic of this video. Let's go to the actual topic. This is why you should script your videos, but for one, I'm lazy, and simultaneously I'm trading with myself Gen 4 Pokemon, so if I say something stupid, there's that. I'm just passively doing this. So Daima is coming out soon. I might watch it, and in the trailers I saw Goku go Super Saiyan. I actually didn't watch the trailer, I just glanced over it. People are really hyped because it's from Toriyama, and mainly because it's his last work, and it's just because it has to be Dragon Ball. Nobody gives a crap about Sandland. I don't give a crap about Sandland, I will be honest. And like that, I don't really give a crap about Daima. It's not because I disrespect Toriyama, but because I have no interest in these things, and I can't force myself to give these things a chance. I have to have a desire. I enjoy Toriyama for what he did back in the day, not what he did the past few years. And that doesn't mean I dislike him or whatnot. It's not 100% his fault. The mistakes he made are still his mistakes, and regardless if it's sad that he's dead or not, it doesn't change the fact that Dragon Ball Super is god awful. And speaking of Daima, why did they have to turn everyone into a kid? And either it's because you can say in-universe to nerf them, and out-of-universe to give the adventurous aspect. And I have been thinking about why even bother to do that. Remember when I made that Dragon Ball Super rant for Dragon Ball Super fanboys? And it comes back to that topic. It's a spin-off, so it probably won't be continuing the same story. Instead, it sparked something different in me that got me kinda curious. And why not just make a Dragon Ball GT sequel? I mean, GT wasn't awful, and it's still insanely popular. Did you see how much hype just the reveal of GT characters and Sparking Zero did? People like GT, you can say whatever you want about GT, but you can deny it that it's still part of the franchise, and a lot of people like it. But it's not because it's GT. I suggest a sequel, but what the end of GT kind of provides. A sequel that it's actually a sequel and not some filler bullshit. And what do you have at the end of GT? Pretty much everyone died because of old age and whatnot. So you have just a few characters left and a new generation of Dragon Ball characters. And I think that's a good starting point, if anything, to make new characters, to kinda embrace the franchise in different ways. You don't have to think about this insane power scaling. You can make lower stake fights and still be impactful. You can, I mean, I watched a lot of TV series which spread about, it's mainly historic, Dirish Atrul or Resurrection Atrul, and its sequel Kurulush Osman, which is focusing on the story of his son, of Atrul. It was really intriguing, and I think Dragon Ball could do something similar in terms of a new generation. It tells the story of a new generation, and C tried to do that, but it failed miserably. But we have generations of storytelling now. Would it be too much of a problem to try to make Goku Jr. an interesting character for once? Would it be a problem to have Vegeta Jr. to turn in an actual character, maybe similar to Vegeta but his own character? I don't know. As far as we know, they can only go up to Super Saiyan. You don't need to have these insane jumps and justify random nobodies getting Super Saiyan Blue levels and give power swap transformations. You can make some reasonable stuff, I think. There are a lot of things that can be done, I feel. When I watched Kolosh Osman, there's a character you wouldn't expect to be a bad person because of what happened in the past. It turned out to be a bad, changed to a bad person over the run of the story. And I think something interesting like that could be happening in a Dragon Ball GT sequel. Like, this is just an idea, it's not like I'm gonna force anyone to write fanfiction about it, nor did I make a fanfiction about it. Take for example androids, they don't age, right? How would it feel to be imagine android's 18, she lives for generations, probably 100 years have passed, Krillin died and her daughter might be having Alzheimer's, sitting in a completely unable to remember everything, and Android 18, looking younger than her daughter, has to take care of it and see her die. That would mindfuck a person. How would that affect her? Would be interesting character writing, but this is Dragon Ball. We probably won't get these kinds of depth storytelling. This could maybe turn her into a bad person, but I think the power jump between Goku Jr. and Android 80 would be a bit too much, if I'm honest. From what we have seen, Goku Jr. had to turn Super Saiyan against some freaking pig dude that struggled to that is barely above bear level, and he can turn his arm into Lord Yao or whatever. But they can also do some adventure stuff, like in Dragon Ball Daima, I feel, but on a lesser scale. And the demon lord thingy doesn't have to turn everyone into kids because there are no real threats. There's also Pan. Maybe make Pan an interesting character for once. Would that be too bad? I mean, Pan wasn't god awful, and she had some really good moments, but now as an old woman, maybe she could do something interesting. I don't know. We can see her how she's performing as an grandma in a fight. Maybe I'm grasping for straws here. There's some small potential, but it's not interesting in a Dragon Ball sense for the Dragon Ball fan base, because there are no. They want to keep higher in terms of stakes. Well, Super didn't do that, but they worked around it because they still had that cap that needs to be overcome. And technically Goku was getting stronger even if the benchmark was keep being increased. So, like Super Saiyan God from Battle of Gods and builds, the power gap didn't seem that large, but over the course of the series it looks like it's still insanely large, depending how you look at it. Some people believe Goku is already far above the God of Destruction, but that's a different topic. I won't go to it into that can of worms. You can do that if you want. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. What else? Why do they even have Dragon Ball Heroes characters? Why is Cell Max and Cell separate from androids? That's the Dragon Ball wiki for you. So what is Goku? Can Goku even fly in this show? Probably not. If he is riding a freaking dinosaur. Is this Dragon Quest but with Dragon Ball skin? So Dragon Ball fans watch it. It's Toriyama's final work, so you have to watch it, right? And most of the time I see Dragon Ball fans do is when they make up a sequel to GT, they keep bringing back Goku, and I think that says something, that people just like Goku too much. You can't have Dragon Ball without Goku is the general consensus. I don't mean like a spin-off. I mean you can write a spin-off 1-2 episodes without Goku, but people really want Goku in a major story, and in some way. Even Bio Broly wasn't safe from Goku. You had to have Goku in some scenes, but nobody likes Bio Broly. We have some trivia here. They did a decent job writing all these things in the Dragon Ball wiki, which is now fandom because it was bought off or something. I don't really care about that. All these retcons kinda made Dragon Ball really confusing. But we will see. It's okay. This is also not very good, but oh yeah, this thing. I wonder what Toyotori is gonna do now. He doesn't have to worry about Toriyama's work contradicting his own anymore. He can now try to cope with what's going on now. If he likes it that much. Tricky face mode by Goku. Oh, nice alternative. Mega instinct, super ego, massive ego boost. Oh god, what is this? Yeah, instead of Daima, I think Dragon Ball Junior type, let's say that, let's call it Dragon Ball Junior. A sequel to GT would be nice. No, it's this, I think making stories close to GT is more beneficial because it has more more things to offer in terms of generating hype. I mean, you can say whatever you want about the characters, but the aftermath, the stakes, because the Dragon Balls aren't there. GT has far more potential to have a better storytelling, to tell a better story than Dragon Ball Z has. Because for Dragon Ball Z, it was the last arc was made in a way, so it didn't intend to have further stories to tell. So in that sense, it worked out in its favor with buffing the other Dragon Balls and undoing every negative consequences. And what GT did is undo the positive consequences into turning them into negative consequences. Now they have to be more mindful in abusing Dragon Balls and whatnot. But then we have Dragon Ball Super, which diminished every negative consequence by creating plot devices for literally everything. You have Super Saiyan God, you have the God of Destruction, you have Whis time reversal, Whis can revive people, you have several sets of Dragon Balls. Dragon Balls can now revive, give you a power boost, a massive power boost. And how do you do that? You have the Xeno button. Where does it start having stakes? When are you gonna feel like you are excited something is happening? I feel people are more excited about power-ups instead of the actual fights, or I won't say it's a story because like it's not an interesting story, but it does give you it generates hype, like where you see how will they get out of the situation. It's not predictable is what I'm gonna say. The ending of the evil Goku arc, that was predictable. Anyone who didn't believe Goku is gonna press the Xeno button is an idiot. I'm not joking. Like, there are people that said Goku would never press the Xeno button. He presses the Xeno button. And if you have to go to really old videos to find these people. Now people are gonna, it's easy to say, how did you not expect Goku to press the Xeno button? But if you were there back then, nobody wrote Goku is obviously gonna press the Xeno button, so why even bother fighting? Or why did they ruin the Potara fusion if Goku is gonna press the Xeno button and undo everything anyways? Yeah, it was clear. Or how the Super Dragon Balls were the price of the Tournament of Power. Even if Universe 7 would have lost, as the universes would be revived. Nobody can revive something that is erased out of existence. They revived people that they removed out of existence. Am I wrong or am I right? I'm right, right? And this is a problem. It's keep happening. And I will say the ending of the Granola arc was not predictable, but it was like it was another plot device. Frieza came and cleaned up the mess that happened, so everything that was done has been undone. And then we go to revival of F, time reversal, again, predictable outcome, and even if it weren't predictable, it was a plot device that kinda ruins the tension of the entire story. Like, there was no way Goku and Vegeta would lose. Compare that to other movies like Goku versus Broly. When the first time it wasn't clear if they could have really won against Broly. It was clear they gonna win because it's a Dragon Ball movie and movies have to end up somehow. But the energy thing, you weren't really expecting it to work. With the battle against Turles, the Spirit Bomb, it failed. How do they beat Turles? They take the energy from the God tree instead, and you can say, well, and that was predictable, but I think that's more vague. If you can take the energy from the Tree of Might, or the fight against Lord Slug, like, the Spirit Bomb really didn't matter, but Piccolo giving Goku energy was kinda really a difficult task, let's say. Like, they had to put effort. There was a need of strategy and understanding your opponent and whatnot to actually deliver that much energy to one another. A thing I liked personally was Fusion Reborn, the ending. Obviously Fusion, it was, you can say it's clear, a Fusion character would beat Janemba, but for once they had to perform the technique correctly, which you can say obviously they're gonna perform it correctly, but there was a stake where you hyped, well, how will they manage to get the fusion done and get it correctly? Well, there's that obviously, so there's this hype, but pressing just a button, reversing Titan, like, this can be happening at any point whenever the characters want, so it's a breakout hype. Goku and Vegeta traveled so often to the future that it didn't really matter. There were no stakes, basically. They could have pressed the button at any point they wanted. Now I feel like this is the difference between modern Dragon Ball and old Dragon Ball. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I think Daima is just whatever. And if you were to make a Dragon Ball GT sequel with new generation of characters, you can say it's whatever as well, but I feel like it has more potential and less chance of ruining pre-existing. This is the thing. You don't ruin pre-existing characters. And if I say, let's take the example with Android 18. Oh, Android 18 is evil. Oh, didn't we see that coming? Why even bother? We want another Super 17 arc. If the motivation for a character to turn evil is like, I think that's far more interesting. Let's say Android 18 used to be evil. She was on the side of evil, converted to good and turns back evil. But in concept that doesn't sound interesting. But it's a motivation. The difference between would be, if it were to happen, between Android 17 is he was brainwashed, and the story was around him being a mindless robot who starts to get his control back, because we have seen glimpses of Android 17 regain his conscious self versus being brainwashed by Dr. Mew. And he did kinda break out by killing Dr. Mew, and implied by Goku by letting them defeat Super 17 with a Dragon Fist Kamehameha. And with Android 18 it would be like her life experience ruined her life, or emotionally pressured her to the point she would turn evil for whatever reason and decide to change the world and whatnot. And the other interesting thing would be the Dragon Balls would come at a risk, so the characters would be more inclined to not abuse them, which might say characters more interesting. And the power jump would not be as big, so we don't have billions of transformations, and we could just focus on Super Saiyan. And just in this case, Android 18 is a huge jump in power. If she were alive, I don't know if she's even alive at the end of GT. We don't know exactly how strong Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. are at the end of GT. We only know how weak Goku Jr. was during the Goku Jr. special. But like I said, there's potential to tell an interesting story, and I think far more interesting than what Daima could provide. Like, I just have to look at the designs of the characters and a few trailers, and it's already less interesting than what I can think of what could happen in a potential GT spin-off after 100 years, in the 100 years time skip. And with this I think I end the video. Probably people would be more inclined to see what happens after Goku goes away with Shenron. How did everyone die in 100 years? Except Pan. What happened? Even in that story you can have something interesting, like we could see Pan in her adult form. Maybe we can see her children, we can see Vegeta's grandchildren, and see how they are as characters. Completely new characters. We didn't see Goku Jr.'s father, we didn't see Vegeta Jr.'s father. There's potential. These could be really interesting characters you could write. Obviously the problem is we are talking about Toei, and they didn't really bother much with Goten. In GT, okay, he's a pussy slayer, that's all we know. In terms of action and whatnot, he didn't provide much interesting things, because Toei was more focused on telling a story around Goku and Pan, and as side characters that didn't really matter too much. They focused on Vegeta and Trunks and Gero instead. So they tried to keep it more condensed and removed most of the characters from either developing or in terms of action scenes, and that's, I think, very good. Just ends the videos. You can tell me what you think. What you think? There would be no difference between a GT sequel to Daima, and what would you like to see in a GT sequel? Would you want to bring back Goku from the Dragon Realm or whatever, like they did in Dragon Ball AF, all these Dragon Ball AF fanfiction, or Dragon Ball Deliverance and whatnot? Now you can tell me in the comments below, and